this is going to be part 4 of the trading series. We're going to get into some more of the advanced programs. If you haven't seen the other parts, going over the trading view, the basics, make sure you go and watch those first, because today we're going to be looking at paid software, and you shouldn't be buying paid software until you've already kind of mastered the free software, trading view and whatnot. Before we get into that software though, I just want to start off here in trading view because this should be a shorter video anyway, and we can see that we did back test the 618 and then back tested the volume level perfectly. So if you saw my last video going over the price action on Bitcoin, you'll know it kind of played out exactly how I was hoping for. So yeah, this right here is going to be your important level to hold. If you were to back test it, that would be okay, but you'd want a pretty clean bounce off it. If you were to start closing candles down here, back testing this as resistance, that would not be a good sign. We really want to see this thing march up and not just deviate this level. A lot of lines there, but that's just what I'd be watching out for. You do not want it to deviate the volume level, get resistance at the 702, and then get back under. That would actually signal a potential top for Bitcoin. I really want to see it get up to this level here at 56.5. I want to see that flipped into support. I really just want the parabolic rally to continue for this guy. We shouldn't really meet much resistance, and that's what I'm going to be looking for, so we can blast off into that all-time highs, which is where altcoins will go absolutely ballistic and what we all hope for. So that's Bitcoin. Let's get out of trading view. Let's go into these more advanced programs, and let's actually talk about trading. So what is this? This is Trading Different. Not a lot of people know about this program. Not a lot of people use this program. If you're into trading, you've watched a lot of YouTube on it, you're going to know that high block capital is something that a lot of people use. And essentially, it's the same thing as high block capital, except for it's more real time, in my opinion. It's cleaner, in my opinion. It shows the levels, and I just prefer it. It is also a little bit cheaper. High block is like $100 a month. This program's like $70 a month. I got the year version. It was like $600 something for the full year. This is, definitely one of the more expensive programs. This is probably the last one I would get. The other one would be Trading Light, and I'm actually going to cover that in the part 5 because there's just so much to cover in Trading Light. So I'm probably going to do multiple parts just in that program. So Trading Different, what does it do? Well, it essentially shows the liquidity zones for Bitcoin. What liquidity zones are is where your leveraged positions are going to be liquidated, right? So if you're in a 10x long, well, 10% away from the price to the downside is where that liquidation is going to be. So these programs can calculate based on the amount of positions being taken in real time, what the leverage is being used on average, where this liquidity is going to build. It's always going to be behind lows and highs, right? You don't need a program like this. It's really not necessary, but it does really help visualize that liquidity. So if you remember from my last videos, I was saying, well, the sweep levels are behind consistent lows or highs. So if you get a lot of poor lows or poor highs, then that's where your liquidity builds. And essentially you can see that here. You can see a low there, all in this region. These are all at a very similar level, right? And we haven't really swept any of this. We haven't had big wicks through it, which means there's a lot of liquidity below all these levels, and that's represented by this deep red here. You also have some here and here, but mainly what you'd want to see swept is this block right here, because that's, of course, is a level that it's gotten close to a lot of times, and there's just a lot of liquidity there, and it would make sense for that to get swept. So you're going to want to enter your positions once these big red blocks get swept, and you're going to use it as confirmation essentially. So this is a 15-minute time frame for a very short time frame. You can see we have liquidity all throughout this, and this would be a vector candle, right? I can just tell by the way it's formed. This is going to be a vector candle on TradingView. So you would see that there's a vector candle. You would know that vector candles usually get filled 50% of the way. So I would just take, a fib from here, and I would say, okay, well, it's probably going to fill 50%, which 50% comes out to right here actually. So just using Fibonacci's, you can see that 50% level comes in right at the end of this liquidity zone. So if I were going to take a long, the first place I would even consider it would be in this region, right? I wouldn't even think about longing anything up in here. I would absolutely have to wait for this zone, potentially even down here at the 618, right? You can tell these liquidity zones kind of match up with these fib levels, right? It's kind of interesting how that works. You know, maybe even the 786 down here, right? And this is going to be kind of old support region in here. So it's a very nice guide to show you where you should be marking your levels. You know, you use this with volume levels, fib levels. Other confluences you can use are EMAs. There's a couple others, and you can kind of use those all together to build confluence for a level. And that's how you're going to choose your levels, choose where you're going to decide to take trades, because you should always be planning out, okay, this box is where I will take a long if I see good order flow, or this is where I'm going to take a long if I see a bullish divergence, right? So you always want to mark out those levels, and this indicator, this software rather, can really help you figure out where those levels are. So yeah, it's very kind of self-explanatory. There's not too much else this program does. You can do the 1 second chart on Bitcoin with this subscription, but I mean that's just more for fun rather than anything. There's no reason to actually be looking at that. And as you can see, if we zoom out here, this program is not the best at big time frames. So something like high block capital is going to be better in that case. It doesn't show anything above current price because that's price discovery. It only shows liquidity levels that have already been tapped, right? It shows where price has recently been and calculates it based on that. Whereas high block will actually show you where liquidity might be in price discovery. So it'll show you zones up higher. So I will say in that way that high block is better. So if you were to go with high block over this, it makes a lot of sense. Not one is really better than the other, but as far as short term, you know, maybe you're doing a little bit more scalping. I really do like trading different here. I think the zones are really shown very well. So yeah, I use this pretty much every time I will take a trade. I'll have it minimized on a second monitor, just kind of off at the side next to the bookmap, and that's what we're going to get into next. So let's go ahead and let's get into bookmap. And that's a program I don't even own myself. And the reason for that is because this guy, Kemba, has it for free on YouTube. So in my opinion, there's no really need to buy it. And this guy right here, Kemba, is where I've learned most of my trading information from. He's your guy to go to, K1M6A. He's live on Twitch almost every day. He's been doing this for decades. If there's one point of advice I can give you guys in any of these trading series, it's after you watch me, go watch Kimba. He's much better than me. He knows what he's talking about. He's done this for a lot longer than me. I am regurgitating most of my stuff from watching him. So if there's anyone you should learn from, it's Kimba. He knows what he's doing. Go check him out. But this program right here, what is this? This is Bookmap. So this shows orders in the books. So you can see here at 5280, we have 166 ish Bitcoin being longed. At 52,160, we have around 150 Bitcoin in shorts. So you can see in real time what is being leveraged in the order books on Bitcoin. And this is aggregated. So it aggregates from multiple exchanges, Bybit, Binance, etc. So these are real-time limit orders being placed in order books right here. And then these bubbles are market orders. So you can see green would be a market long, whereas red would be a market short. So you can use this to see who's the smart money and who's the dumb money in the order books. A lot of the time, market orders, aggressive limits being pushed up can be smart money, but most of the time it's actually not. The aggressive buyers and sellers are usually wrong, right? They're usually being emotional and they're usually pushing through stuff that they shouldn't be. So if you see price being marketed up and then you see limits fill those markets with shorts, and then those limits start stacking down, slowly pressuring the price down after a bunch of market longs just took place, you might take that as, hey, this person just FOMO'd into price and just got absorbed by whales that's big resistance. They're probably going to bring it down and liquidate that person that just market entered. So you can use it in that way. You can also use it just to see big walls, just see Binance on pressure overall. It's definitely not something you can go just based on Bookmap, right? You're using this as Confluence with other programs, right? You want to see price get to your levels, and once it's at those levels, that's where you kind of look at this and go, okay, well, am I going to be buying into a massive, sell wall? Am I going to be buying into a bunch of other people market longing the market? Because you don't want to enter your position while there's a bunch of other people market longing. You want to enter your position when there's just a bunch of buy walls, there's a bunch of maybe market shorts. That's where you want to get in. So you can kind of use this to help you out and not get trapped. You just, a good visualization of what other participants in the market are using. So that's Bookmap. What are these other programs here? Well, on the left here, this is High Block Capital, the program I was talking about earlier. It shows the liquidity zones on a higher time frame, and that's why I don't buy High Block Capital, because I can just see it right here for those higher time frames. So you can see all the way down to 40K, all the way up to 60K. Very similar to those red blocks on Trading Different. These are just yellow blocks. The deeper blue means there's no liquidity there, whereas, bright yellow means there's a lot of liquidity there. So you can use this to know, hey, price is probably going to want to hunt the liquidity. So if you were going to try to enter a position just based on this high block capital, the liquidity zones, how I would trade this would be if price came up and grabbed, let's say 53, 54, all of this stuff here, that's the place I would short. And if price were to come down to 50K-ish and grab all of this, that's where I would long. So that's just kind of how liquidity zones work. That's how high block works. Very self-explanatory in my opinion. Over here, this is more order book stuff. I don't use this really at all. I think it's just kind of more information that can kind of clog up your decision making. You want to simplify stuff as much as possible, and a lot of times if you're just looking at every single indicator you can, you'll just get confused. There'll be too many indicators counteracting each other. You won't really know, if you need to take the positions or not. So I don't really use this. Up here, this is Kingfisher. Again, it's just the liquidity zones on a different visualization scale. So as you can see here, there's a lot more liquidity to the upside than the downside. You can see all of this at around 50 to 5-ish, right? There's a lot of liquidity here. So that's Kingfisher. I don't really use this one as much, but it's there, so you can look at it. These programs aren't normally free, but he has them live, so go check them out. Again, this is the biggest alpha I can give you. Kimba right here. Go check him out on YouTube. Go check him out on Twitch. He's been doing it longer than I have, and that's what you should go watch after watching this video. That is part 4 wrapped up there. In the next video, we're going to be going over trading light, and that's where you're really going to see my strategy unfold, and we're going to really dive deep on that program because it has so much to offer, and it's not super expensive. It's like 20 bucks a month, so it's not terrible. So that'll be saved for part 4. Hope you guys learned something from this, and I'll see you guys in my next video.